Hello and welcome to this short video on creating alternative assessments in Canvas. This is the first of 3 short videos, and this one is going to look at steps to prepare. Now, this will cover both if you are setting up for resits or if you're setting up for the first time. And I'm going to use the checklist that is found at this web address. So you'll always find the most up-to-date version of the assignment checklist. It covers both, as I said, resits and setting up an assignment for the first time under these alternative assessment guidelines. So I'm going to go through the first part of this, the steps to prepare, and then in the next video we'll look at setting up a new assignment, and then we'll look in the final video at how to go about marking an assignment. Okay, so the steps to prepare start with the posting policy. What we don't want is any marks that are ultimately given in Canvas going direct to the students. So what we've got to do is set the grade posting policy to manual. So we do that in grades. So we go into our Canvas course and go to grades. And I'm looking for the little cog up in the top right here. So I click that and I go to grade posting policy. And I want to make sure that it is set to manual. So that means that I have to actually go in and release the grades once that is set to manual. If it's set to automatic, then as soon as a grade goes in, it goes out to students. We don't want that, so make sure it's sitting at manual. So we can do that through the little cog up here, or if you already have the assignment set up, you can go to the assignment itself and this little 3 ellipses, and we go to grade posting policy here. And again, we can set it to manual. So that's the first step. Make sure that the grade posting policy is set to manual. The second point in our checklist is to make sure that the running total for grades is hidden from students. Now we do that if I go to home. If you're starting from your home page, you want to go down to settings. And in settings, you should be on course details. Scroll down to the bottom and you see more options. Down at the bottom of that, in the middle here, we see hide totals in student grades summary. So if you click that, what that's going to do is prevent the students from, in their grade summary, getting a running total, because once you add a new assessment, that may well change the total that they're seeing. It may cause confusion, so it's just better to hide it. So hide the totals, update the course, and now that confusion will not happen. Okay, the third point in the checklist is to make sure that your files section is hidden. Because we're going to be uploading a file for the exam, we don't want students to see it. So there's 2 pieces of sort of security that we're going to put in. We're going to hide the files section. That in itself will not be enough. But what we'll also do is we will make sure we don't publish the file when we upload the exam. So 2 steps. The first of them is to hide the files area. You'll know it's hidden when it has this little eye on it. This one doesn't, so students can see it. So students could click on files and go in and see all the files that are published within this course. So we don't want that. What we want to do is hide that. So again, we go to settings. This time we're looking for navigation, and all of the areas that are visible to students are up at the top here. There's files. So what I want to do is I want to drag it down to the bottom to hide it from students. Once I do that and I save, well, then we get this little eye and the students cannot see it. Now students will still be able to see the files that you have linked in other areas of the course. So if you've linked files into modules and your weekly structure, etc., that's fine. They'll still see it, don't worry. They just won't be able to go into files and see all the files for the course in there. Okay, so the next bit of the checklist says make sure that you have a contact method for students. So it's just a reminder to have a discussion amongst the team and decide how you are going to make sure that students, if there's any problems during the exam, have someone to contact, and then include that in the assignment details. Lastly then, it says to set up an assignment group. Now this is where it starts to differ between whether you're setting up a reset of an alternative assessment which has already happened, or you're setting up the first. So your assignment section is either going to look like, so if I click assignments, it's either going to look like this. So if I hide everything else and just concentrate on the alternative assessment. So here we have the alternative assessment that was set up previously. Students have sat that. So I now want to set up a reset. Or if you're coming to this for the first time, it'll look like this. And there is no group for alternative assessment. So if you're sitting with one that you want to set up a reset for, you do not need to set up a new assignment group. We are going to put the reset in this same group. We're not, repeat, not going to make any changes to this original assessment. We're going to add a new one. So don't do that. Add a new assignment when we come to do that in the next video. But you don't want to set up a new group. You're using the old alternative assessment group. If, however, you haven't set up an alternative assessment group, well then you need to do that. So to do that, you go to the big grey button here, plus group. So I hit plus group and I'll put in alternative assessment for the group name, and we have it in. Now also you might want to set up the weightings for each element of your assessment. If you want to do that, remember it's one item within each group, so whatever your item is, you set up a group. So that means that the weightings will reflect your module assessment structure. So to do that, you go to this little ellipsis in the top right and you go to assignment groups weight. So in there, you want to weight the final grade based on assignment groups, and then we can put in the percentages. So we might say 10% for this, 10% for this, and then that leaves us with 70% for the exam to make up the 100%. Once you do that, well, that means that you've got the weightings set up here. So you've got weightings for each of the groups. Those then feed through to your grade book, which you can view in grades. So if I go to grades, you can now see that for each of these groups, it tells us what the percentage is going to be, and that then is going to weight them once I put the marks in to get the total grade over here on the right hand side. Okay, so that's how we undertake the steps to prepare the first part of the checklist. We check the grade posting policy, hide the running total for students, hide the files section, ensure we've agreed a contact method, and then set up our assignment group. We are then ready to actually set up the assignment, and we will do that in the next video.